prices of Bitcoin. Bitcoin has taken quite a hit recently. It just got a little pump just a little while ago, but it's been on the downward slide. That's safe to say. We're in very much of a bear market, and there are indicators that Rolex prices are not far behind, that a bear market is coming in the Rolex speculation game. Of course, you know we never recommend that people speculate on the value of a Rolex, but people do. And so I think it's going to be a topic of discussion. We're going to discuss all things Bitcoin and all things Rolex pricing. And I'll give you some strategies that I'm following. And then we can talk about what you guys are doing. And meanwhile, wristwatch check. I'm wearing the 18 karat gold stunner. And this is a Brooks Brothers shirt. And the cuffs are a little bit on the snug side, but it actually works pretty good because I can have the watch partially under the cuff so that I can easily read it, and yet it's not over the bone. It's in the watch is in the right position, and the right amount is displayed, and I can get a little bit of cuff link there, you can see. And of course on this side I can get cuff link as well. So actually this combo works out pretty good. You can probably visualize that it wouldn't look nearly as good if this watch was significantly larger. You can see where we're having a relatively small dress watch, thin, not overly large, where it can do exactly what I'm doing right now. It can slip under a tight cuff, get the right amount exposed, yet it doesn't look like some bulbous large watch is sitting there out of sorts, if you will. So I think that it's a good combination. Now, getting on to our topics, Bitcoin. I'll switch here real quick and show you what's happened here recently. Let me get on a 15-minute time frame, and then I will share my screen. Okay, so here's the screen. As you see, we dropped all the way down to about 32, right around 3,200 or so. And then we've got a significant pump back up to about 34 something. It's 34.35 right now. But obviously we've been in a sustained bear market. And I've got some powder dry. As you can see, I've got some powder sitting in there, $3,000 US, just sitting there waiting to buy something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until it gets down to around $1,200. I've never paid more than, I haven't even paid more than $1,000 for Bitcoin, but I think the bottom, I think realistically, the bottom is probably somewhere between $1,250 and $2,400. I'm going to give that range for where I think we're going to see a bottom. Now, here's the big question on Bitcoin. And that is, can those that would like to destroy Bitcoin, will they be able to, while it's down and out, if you will they be able to give it the final death cross and just absolutely kill it and drive it to zero? I don't think so. I think there are some folks that might try. And of course, a lot of the folks in the media right now are pronouncing it dead. And just so you know, over the last 10 years, it's been pronounced dead hundreds of times. I mean, just straight up, hey, it's done. This whole Bitcoin thing was a noble experiment, but it's over, right? That's been pronounced over the last 8-9 years many, many, many times. There's even a website, I think, that lists all the times it's been pronounced dead. So it is like the phoenix rising from the ashes. So if we have the biggest pullback, if you look at all the rise and fall of Bitcoin, the biggest pullback was, I think, 87% previous, and I think that was Mt. Goss. If you look at the numbers, I think that means that if we have this, excuse me, we have the same pullback this time, I think we're looking at around $2,400 if my math is correct. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think we're looking at around $2,400. Maybe somebody can run the math and give us an accurate number on that. So the question is, are we going to go even lower than that? I think it's possible. I think we have more publicity now. We have more naysayers now than we did back at Mt. Goss. So there are more forces that might try to force it down now so that we might see a bigger retracement. But I think there are those that are sitting and waiting for what they think is the bottom to buy some Bitcoin. I think there are some people that have like maybe no Bitcoin at all that might want to own at least one just in case it goes like crazy again. So I think there are some people sitting that are waiting to see what happens and that are ready to jump in when they feel the bottom has been reached. So I think that at some point there are going to be buyers that are going to come in. I could be wrong. And there might even be some whales that are sitting, waiting to buy large chunks of Bitcoin when it reaches a certain price. It looks like we just saw some jump in at $3,200, some whales pumping it back up. So anyway, we don't know what's going to happen. Let's get a quick time check. And, of course, due to delay of broadcast, this won't be in sync with whatever timekeeping device you're using. But I can tell you right here, I'm looking at my computer, and I'm looking at the watch, and it is very close to spot on. Very, very close to spot on. And we'll do a quick little freeze frame here. There you go. And so the Grand Seiko Diver is still bulletproof, reliable, and spot-on accurate. So there's that. Okay, so now let's get to the Rolex situation. And why is Rolex in a similar situation to Bitcoin? Well, Rolex, there was a lot of speculation on Rolex, and there still are some people that are speculating on Rolex. Craig, you can never buy in at the bottom. I will be buying another full coin if it drops below 3K. At what number, though, Terry? At what number are you going to pull the trigger? Let me know. Yeah, I know it's difficult to call the bottom. I agree with you. But here's the thing. I don't have to buy. I mean, I've got a significant amount of Bitcoin already, so I don't have to buy. I'm just bottom fishing. And so if it gets like ridiculously low, and to me, ridiculously low would be around $1,200, $1,250, somewhere in there. I mean, I'll probably buy a couple dozen more Bitcoin at that point if it gets that low, right? So it just depends on how low it gets as to whether or not I'll jump in. So Terry's going to grab one Bitcoin at 2,900. I think you're going to be able to do that. That's my guess. I think you might be able to do that. I'll be surprised if we don't get another dip down. I just pulls the trigger at 3.8. Peter, what do you mean? You just bought 3.8 Bitcoin? Or at what number did you buy? 29-ish, 2,900-ish. Okay. Well, you know, the best way to snag on a deal is put a limit order in for a ridiculously low price, and sometimes you'll get you know, where it'll snap down and your order will get filled. And, you know, some people got some orders filled, I think, on Ethereum at some ridiculously low numbers earlier today. They got lucky. So, hello from my mama's basement in the eastern suburbs of Melbourne, I think he meant Australia. Okay. 1.22 BTC, fasten seat belts, although I think it will go down. I bought 1.25 BTC at 3,800, Peter. You paid too much. You should have consulted with me. But that's all right. Here's the thing. If you're holding long term, it really doesn't matter how much you pay now. Of course, that's assuming you're willing to lose whatever it is that you're paying, right? Because it could literally go to zero. So here's the thing. But if you're holding long term, it isn't going to make that much difference what you paid now, because let's say you paid $3,800, right? Well, if it goes to $100,000 a coin, you made out pretty good, right? If it goes to zero, you lost $3,800. So, I mean, you're gambling whatever amount it is that you're spending. So, yeah, it'd be nice to get it a little cheaper, but the bottom line is if there's a huge upside, then whatever you buy it for now is gonna seem cheap if it takes off. I have my limit order right now at 29.30. Yeah, and Terry, you can keep an eye on it. If it looks like it's aggressively going down, you can adjust that limit order and play around. But best regards from Holland. Long term. Is Steel Sport Rolex keep tanking? Let's talk a little bit about the Rolex thing. Obviously, there are people that have been speculating on the Steel Sport Rolexes. I mean, what else could you call somebody paying well over list price for basically a mass-produced watch? Okay, that's speculating that the market is going to stay crazy, which it's been pretty crazy in my opinion, and that's speculating that that's going to continue. And there are people that are saying that it's going to continue for forever. It's never going to abate, right? I think that's wrong, and I think we're seeing some indicators. We've talked about this on some other shows. We're seeing some indicators. I even watched a video the other day of a gentleman who bought one Submariner date and got a 20% discount from an AD. Okay? So, excuse me. I could drink some more water. I don't know, my throat. So we're seeing some signs of the market weakening. And what's going to happen, like any highly speculative, I don't want to call it a bubble because it's not going to go to zero. It's not going to burst and be worth nothing. The Rolexes are never going to be worth nothing. So that's not going to happen. But I think what is likely to happen is the prices will go back to where they were before all the hype and shortages and all these things started happening a year or two ago. It's only been a couple years this has been going on. So maybe somebody can share in the chat when it really started, but I think it's only been a couple years. Where is that 20% off? Well, again, there's a video the guy put up talking about it, so you can go take a look. But so here's, and he didn't say anybody can get it. This guy knew somebody, and he got a discount, and then he referred this other guy to the AD to jump the waiting list, and he was able to jump the waiting list and get a watch, but he had to pay sticker. The other guy got 20% off, so because he knew somebody. So take care, Peter. So here's the deal. With all these people that have been stocking up on watches, speculating, and thinking that they're going to be worth a lot of money and all this, as soon as there are clear indications that this lack of supply, the shortages and all this, that this is all going to go away, as soon as the price starts adjusting, they're all going to start panicking. Some are going to panic sooner than others, but in any event, they're going to start selling. And when they start selling en masse, that's when it's really, the bottom's really going to fall out. And I think what's going to happen is we're going to see prices significantly drop on these gray market watches. And I think we might even go below what watches were historically selling for. And I'll tell you what they were historically selling for, because I was involved with, buying Rolexes and selling them some. And, over the years, I've had quite a few. And so I kind of know what the markups were and what kind of discounts you could get back in the day and what you could expect with Rolex prices. And so what happened was, I saw that video, the guy got 20% off, was like 2 years ago. I don't think it was 2 years ago. I don't think it was that long, Scott. Not the impression I got, because the other guy didn't wait that long to get his, and he was introduced from the guy that got 20%. Archie just bought a ton of Rolex. Well, that's probably an indication that the market's going to crash. Okay, so here's the deal. Years ago, when we used to buy Rolexes, we expected to get 40% off on an all gold Rolex. Okay? That was what we expected. That was normal. Just returned my non-working brand new Grand Seiko, and I'm soured. Oh, well. That's a shame, Eric. Here's mine. Mine is spot on accurate. Dead on within a second since I changed the time for daylight savings time. In early November, was that? It's been like a month. Something like a month. So anyway, within a second. So so the prices on a gold Rolex, we could get about 40% off. That was a good deal. Brand new. On the steel watches, we could get about 20 to 25% discount on a brand new one. That was, not unheard of and not that hard to do. I'll put it that way. You could do it. It was doable. And here's the thing. If you bought one used, the steel watch, you could basically get it for about 60 cents on the dollar. So a full 40% off. You could buy the steel watch used. If it was a fairly recent model, in good shape and all that. If it was in bad shape, you took off money for that, right? Or if it was significantly older, you took off some more money. But about 40% off. On the gold one, it was routine to get them for half. So, for example, if a day date costs $16,000 brand new, okay, which is about what they were like around the year 2000, you could buy them used for $8,000. That was the rule of thumb, right? Half price, and this is assuming in great condition, right? So that was normal, the normal market, and it was like that for years. Okay, that was kind of like the rule of thumb. That was kind of the way the market was. So I think we're going to return to that. I think we're going to return to that normal. Now, when the selling starts in earnest, you might be able to get some deals even cheaper than those numbers I just outlined, right? Because people will be panicking. And whenever there's panic selling, you can do even better, right? But that's, I think, what we're going to see, and that's what the prices are going to return back to. Okay, so I don't trust Archie. He said he had to sell to pay bills, yet he bought 3 more Rolexes. Well, we don't know if he actually bought those Rolexes or, who knows with Archie. He could be like selling them. He could be like, finagling. He could be doing any one of a number of things. Hey, Craig, my Orient Trident dive watch has been gaining only 4 to 5 seconds per day. Yeah, I can't go back to that kind of accuracy. I'm so spoiled with the gold stunner here. It's spot on accurate, And I say it is spot on. And then we've got this beauty here. It's within a second after a month. I mean, I can't even tell how close it is. It's probably within a quarter of a second. So I'm absolutely, totally spoiled with the accuracy of these Grand Seikos. So I can't go back to, I just can't go back to a couple seconds a day type of thing. I mean, that's just not going to happen. Have you heard of 4G, 5G, Wi-Fi are all frying our bodies? I hope not. I hope not, because I've had cell phones since 1980. I was involved in the first test here in the Baltimore, Washington area where Motorola was testing the system. And I had one in June of 1980, believe it or not, a cell phone. Looked a lot like the one that was in Wall Street. I still have an 8000X that I bought new when they became commercially available. I think that was about 82 or 83. So I've been using the phones for many, 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 many years. So if my brain and all is fried, I mean, if they can fry your brain, then my brain is fried. Went looking for a Rolex Explorer, found one at an AD. The salesman was very arrogant and rude. Decided not to buy it. I don't deserve my business. I hear you. Absolutely. My gosh, you should be buying a luxury item like that. They should roll out the red carpet. I don't see 20% off retail price on Rolex anytime soon. Well, define anytime soon, Neil. A year out, maybe? I don't think it's going to be more than a year or two. I think they might be able to hold this current, shortages and all this stuff for maybe a year or two, but I think it's going to catch up to them sooner rather than later. Did they want to keep the papers for 1 year and you have to sign a paper stating that you cannot sell it within 3 years? Wow. Wow. I don't know how they could stop you, for gosh sakes. You can sell it without papers. Take about a $500 hit. Probably $500, maybe $1,000. You can sell it without papers. So that's it. Let me take another quick look at what Bitcoin's doing right at the moment. So it's leveled off at 3437. 3437. And it went down to about, looks like it was around 3,200. Just a hair over 3,200 was where it bottomed out on this latest dive. This ain't the end of this bear market. This is just what we call a dead cat bounce. So stay tuned for some more blood in the streets. So here's the deal. When there's panic and a lot of blood in the streets, that's the time to buy, of course. But you wait until it gets as bad as it possibly can get. I don't think we're there yet. I think there's going to be more panic, more blood in the streets. I think there are going to be more weak hands dumping. This is how the broke people do. They buy high and they sell low. That's why they're broke, okay? So all the broke people are going to sell their Bitcoin, especially the ones that bought it on credit and went in debt to buy it, right? And bought it at like 19,000 last fall or in January, early January. Let's say they bought it for like 19 grand, the broke people, and they put it on their credit card. They're going to be selling now like at around 3,000 or 2,500, whatever the bottom is. They're going to nail the bottom, right? Because that's what they do. That's why they're broke. And then the sharks, people with the money, they're going to be they're going to be snatching it up, and they're going to ride it back up on the next wave up. And then they're going to sell it back to that same Yamoke that sold his. He's going to say, "Oh man, I'm not going to miss out this time. I'm going to buy and it's going to get to like, 30 grand or 40 grand. And he's going to say, man, it's going to 100, right? And he's going to buy it, and then it's going to crash back down again. And then it's going to repeat. The process is going to repeat itself. I think it's funny. Okay, I saw the AC3 vid today where someone had to go through that BS at Rolex AD when he bought an Explorer 1. Hey, everyone. I've been hearing of a trade manager. His name, Mr. Alexander Reams. I'm not sure what that is. Secondhand in mint condition in UK, stainless steel Rolex about 30% above new retail at the moment because you can't get new. 30%. Yeah. And we're going to keep an eye on that because there's some signs that gray market is starting to weaken. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Off topic. But are you going to have Sam shave his beard when he starts working for you? Have you had that discussion? I haven't had that discussion, but hopefully he will decide on his own that that's a good idea. When you're in sales, you want to mirror your customer, and most of his customers, I think, are going to be relatively clean shaven. And there's no downside to, even if one of his customers happens to have a beard, there's no downside to him not having facial hair, right? There's only upside to that. So hopefully he will decide on his own that that's a good idea. If not, I might mention something to him. I want him to be as successful as possible. They're saving up. They want to buy a home. And I'd like him to be able to pay cash, not have to finance it. That'd be nice. So, yeah. And he's going to be well-dressed. We went to the tailor yesterday, and we're having four sport coats fixed up for him and a couple of suits. And we've got some really nice shirts for him. So he's going to be very well dressed. Bitcoin is not going back up. Okay, Hector. Well, this would be the first time in its history that it hasn't gone back up. But that'll be interesting to see if you're right, Hector. So what do you think it's going to do? Just go down to pretty much zero? Or where do you think the bottom will be? Or do you think the whole network's going to be shut down and it's just basically going to go out of business? What, Hector, what do you think is going to happen? Oh, I know him. He has traded for me. His strategy is actually the bomb. You can contact him, his email. Okay, I don't know what that is. Who is Sam? Sam was in the video the other day. He's coming to work for me. We did a little video the other day, kind of role-playing and talking about what he's going to be doing. And Bitcoin will go back up, Sam. I don't know what that means. I also have heard about Mr. Alexander. Okay. So, yeah, Bitcoin has been pronounced dead many times by many people. And of course, there are a lot of people that would love for it to die because if it ever did take off and become mainstream and become a real method of payment, it could threaten a lot of the incumbents. So it's a big problem potentially for some big players. So they would love to be able to crush it like a bug and just absolutely kill it. But so far, it's been pretty hard to kill. I'm wearing the gold stunner. This is a Grand Seiko, 18 karat gold. It's got the 9F quartz movement in it, which is the best quartz in the world. And I like it because I can put it down for 2 days or 3 days or whatever and put it back up, and I don't have to worry about setting the time and winding it or any of those things. I just put it on and go. And I think it looks pretty stunning. What do you all think? How do you think it looks as a dress watch? See, I don't think a dress watch should be huge. I think it looks terrible to have a bulky watch, that won't fit under your cuff. I think it just looks out of place. I think this watch looks about right, and it works well. I need to get the strap centered. I need to get a custom strap made so that the two links are the right length, so that the clasp is centered underneath my hand. This one is not really centered. It wasn't really designed for my wrist. The side where the clasp is really needs to be longer to be centered. So like right now it's centered on the top, and the clasp is a little bit that way. It should be a little bit more this way. It's off by about a good quarter of an inch. So, but that's nitpicking, really. Okay. And Terry says Bitcoin is not going away. It's either going to do one or the other, right? It's either going to go away or it's not going to go away. I've seen online stores in China that give 10% discount to pay by Bitcoin. Interesting. Otherwise, I've not seen anyone accept it for payment. Yeah, there are some places that still accept it. Yeah, I think once they get the Lightning Network really going, that's the thing is we have to have uptake. We have to have. It has to be easier for people to on-ramp onto it. There's a lot of things that have to be done. But it would help if some big retailers started embracing it and started making it easier for people to get involved in it. But I think that could be 10 years down the road. I mean, this could take quite a while for Bitcoin to really become a thing. It could take quite a while. Or it could not happen. It might just never happen. Like it might just go out of business. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? Wow, it's so cool seeing people say good. Mr. Reams, he's actually my trade manager also. Are you talking about he manages Bitcoin for you? JM Bullion has accepted Bitcoin for gold bullion for years. What does that tell you? Well, I doubt that many people are going to be buying gold bullion with Bitcoin. I mean, most Bitcoin people would rather have the Bitcoin than the gold. Nice wrist, Mr. Ship. I have SPBO 69J1. Sam needs a stainless steel Rolex. We might put him in a Datejust. We're going to probably put him in either a Datejust or a some kind of a Grand Seiko. Might get like an entry-level spring drive like Eric had and had to return. That's a shame that Eric had that problem. That's a very rare circumstance. I think Eric's snake bit. He's just got a lot of bad luck, that guy. That's a shame. Okay, I'm taking a look at that Seiko. I guess that's a Presage. Yeah, I think that's is it that one? Not sure which one it is. I'm sure the Presage is a nice piece. I think Steve sells some of them over at his place. Absolutely. So, good evening from the UK. Lawrence is in the house. Exactly, Craig. They want Bitcoin over gold. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. And I go back to like around 1994 or so when I published my first website. just playing around with it. I published a website. And I went down and I visited my parents down in North Carolina. And they didn't have internet or anything at their house. So we had to go to the library to look at the website. But we went to the library and we looked at the website, and I was able to pull up the website that I'd built up here in Maryland, right? And to me, it was amazing that I was able to publish that website, go down to North Carolina, go to the library, put in the URL for the website, and here it came up, the thing that I had made, right? I thought that was pretty amazing. And I said, man, this internet thing, this really has some potential. Right? So I started buying domain names. I got involved in the internet. I thought it had some potential. So the first time I saw Bitcoin some years ago, and I saw that you could basically set up a Bitcoin wallet. It wasn't as easy as it is now, but you could basically take and send Bitcoin from one wallet to another, and that value, of course, Bitcoins weren't worth as much then as they are now, but that whatever it was that you sent somebody, it went from you owning that to them in a relatively short period of time, and they could be anywhere. We were down in Florida, and we sent some to a friend of mine up in Canada. He wanted some Bitcoin, so we sent some up to him. And he got the confirmations and all that, and literally within minutes, he had the Bitcoin. And I said to myself, well, this is pretty freaking amazing. No bank has to be involved. No government entity has to be involved. This is pretty amazing stuff. And by all accounts, it's very secure. Never gets hacked. Bitcoin's never been hacked. I thought that might have some potential. So just like the internet, I went ahead and got some, right? On the internet, what you could do to get a piece of the action was get some domain names, right? You can't really own the internet per se, but with Bitcoin, you can actually own Bitcoin, which is really cool. If you think about it, you can, it's sort of like buying stock in something where you actually own a piece of the action, right? So I think it might be something that might be important in the future. Good evening from the UK. Okay, let's see. Sam. Okay. The thing about Bitcoin is it has no backup asset. I don't know what you mean by that. I mean, it's got the whole network is backing it. That's all the nodes and the miners and all that. They're all backing it in effect with their labor and their electricity and so on and so forth. Just like, what do you think's backing the U.S. dollar? It's all it is the United States government saying it's worth, whatever it is, and saying it's legal tender, right? There's nothing backing it. So you could make the argument that there's actually more backing Bitcoin than there is backing the U.S. dollar, because at least there's all that electricity being spent to maintain the network, to maintain the security, to maintain the ledgers, and basically showing who owns it. Of course, now there's FUD out there, fear, uncertainty, and doubt that the miners are all going to shut down and that the whole thing's going to shut down. A lot of doomsday, a lot of people predicting doomsday out there. So, Craig, if someone said to you they were going to buy a new Rolex, you'd tell them to wait a year or two to see how the price goes. I would tell them to buy a new Rolex that you don't have to pay over list for. They could buy like a Datejust or something. I mean, sure, they're not going to get a discount probably. They might actually be able to get a discount on a Datejust. Because a lot of those other watches that aren't the hot watches, the dealers want to move them because they can then get more of the hot watches, right? If they sell some of the non-hot watches, especially the gold ones, I think they get a better allocation of the sport watches. It's all a flow, okay? The watches come in, and Rolex, I think, really decides what watches they're going to give the AD, right? Okay, we're going to give you these 10 watches, right? Well, if they sell those watches, the Rolex is going to give them more watches, right? But if they just sell the 2 popular sport models they get, and then they don't sell any of the others, it might be a long time before they get any more sport watches, right? So it behooves them to move the non-movers. So you could probably get a discount on a steel Datejust, like a 36 mil steel Datejust on a Jubilee bracelet with a white gold bezel. You could probably get a discount on that, and that'd be a hell of a nice watch to have. I'd rather have that than a sub. It's a much more attractive watch, much more useful watch than a sub. The new sub with the maxi case is butt ugly. So there's that. What's up, everyone? How are you guys and gals doing today? We are rocking. Good evening from the UK. Absolutely it is. Exactly, Craig. They want Bitcoin over gold. What is it like to be a true gentleman? Somebody defined a gentleman. I was watching a video the other day, and it was a woman doing the video, and she defined what she thought a gentleman was. She says a gentleman is someone who tries to do the right thing. I thought that was a very good definition. That was pretty cool. Tries to do the right thing. I never really heard it defined that way, but that really makes sense, because if you think about it, there are a lot of people these days that don't make a real effort to do the right thing. A lot of times they do the wrong thing. Trolls and all these people with all these negative thoughts, and that's not the right thing, right? Should be positive, right? And so I thought that was pretty cool. What is it about Mr. Reams? I should probably contact him myself. Okay. I learned something new yesterday. Yachtmaster rhodium dial, 37 millimeter, has different, better mechanism than similar 40 millimeter. So it has a newer movement in it. Can you remember the AOL days? Yeah, I remember that. My dad had AOL. First time I went on the internet, I think it was with AOL, and it was slow as molasses. I just was not impressed. I said, this is not very impressive. You either believe in the current fiat system or a gold-backed currency or blockchain. Choose your position. I'll take a bunch of each. I don't keep that much in fiat anymore. I keep some money on the sidelines. Yes, I've got some cash on the sidelines, always ready to do some bottom feeding, but I wouldn't want to keep a lot of money in fiat. It's just being diluted too much. It's going down in value, every year, you're losing several percent of your buying power with that fiat. It's just not a good thing to have your mattress full of cash anymore. So I think you're better off having real estate. People always need somewhere to live. You can always rent real estate to people, right? Even in a depression or whatever, people need somewhere to live. So don't have real high-end real estate, but, medium-end real estate. You can always rent that, always make money off that, generally speaking. And equities and good quality companies are always good to have long-term, right? In other words, high-quality mutual funds. Even though, the market goes up and down, over time, you're usually going to do okay. So that, and then, I think take a wild card on some Bitcoin, and I think you've got a pretty good diverse thing. I don't know about the gold. I don't know if I'd stick with gold. It just has not been very good performer. Faith and credit of the U.S. government. Yeah, and see, that hasn't proven to hold up very well because, again, the dollar has lost a huge amount of its purchasing power over the last 100 years. Um, it just continues to lose its purchasing power. So that has not worked out very well. Do you know what year all the new Bitcoin will be issued to the miners? When will the total supply be reached? Somebody said 2040 or something like that. Maybe even after that. What happens is every 4 years, the mining reward is cut in half. So for the amount of work that the miner does, this is an oversimplification probably, but each block or whatever, the reward is cut in half every 4 years. So the next halving is going to be 2020, like I think around June or something like that. And then after that, 2024, there'll be another halving, right, where it's cut in half, the reward. So over time, less and less Bitcoin is doled out, if you will. So it's a dwindling supply. So theoretically, if demand stays just even constant, then the value will go up because the supply is cut down, right? So we'll see how all that works. That's why the 80 package watches that don't sell together with steel sport models and offload them to gray market dealers to recoup costs. Yeah, that's right. They go out the back door. Absolutely, that's how they end up. But my point is, if you can go in there and you can say the right thing and have some cash and so on, you can probably get them to sell it to you as opposed to the gray market guy, right? Because they'd probably rather sell it to you than the gray market guy because they could actually get caught selling it to the gray market guy and get in trouble and lose their franchise. What do you think about the fact that Bush's grandkids call him Gampers? Cool or? Yes, it's fine. I don't see a problem with that. They're all rich, so they're all good. Archie's is brokest, but still managed to get a $1,500 iPhone 10. Well, I think it's a good idea having a good phone. I've got an iPhone, just the original iPhone 10 here. Rolling this broadcast with it. I think it's a good idea to have a good quality phone because that's a tool that you can use to make money. He's doing the internet thing. That's how he's making his money. So he's got to have the tools. Now he should get a decent lavalier mic, or something to get some good audio into his broadcasts. I don't understand these people that don't take the time and effort to have some decent audio. I think it's painful to watch a video that the audio is terrible. Time check. Look at that gold. Is that gold cool or what? I just shook the table again. See, I like the touch of gold at the top there. Okay, let's see here. Archie won't waste cash on pro exterminating carpet beetles. He has only less than 2 years left in that house. He's got carpet beetles? Archie is just a scam artist. Oh, well. He seems like a decent guy. I mean, I think he did a good job on the video he did for me. I don't know if you guys saw it or not. I put a link on my page, on my Grand Seiko page on my website. Hello from Singapore. Bitcoin is back down to 33.46. I think it hit 3,200 earlier. Dropping fast. Are you wearing Old Spice? Not me. No, I'm not. All right, so let me give you a walkthrough on my website. So for those of you who have been asking about this, if you go to CraigShipp.com and you go to the More menu here, you can see one of the links down here is Grand Seiko Watch Perfection. Go to that link, and you get to this page that has the whole write-up on what makes the Grand Seiko so special, especially the diver watch. And there's some videos and stats, and I pulled some quotes from various experts. So I put together all the information I could find that I thought seemed to be accurate and correct and put it all on this page. Okay? And then I even put some stuff about the snowflake that I had. I've since sold that. I don't have the snowflake anymore. But I put some information about that. And then down at the very bottom, then I've got some information about the gold stunner that's on my wrist right now. They're kind of hard to find and hard to get, but I gave some information on that. And then way down at the bottom here, almost all the way at the bottom, there's the link to the video that Archie did for me. And then there's the a couple of groups for Facebook groups or whatever. But if you click on this one here, this link here, that takes you to the video that Archie did for me. So you guys can go, if you haven't seen that, you guys can go and watch that. Now, also, here on my page, under More, there's a page called Take Control Downloads. And I have some really interesting things in here about building wealth and income and all those kinds of things that we've talked a little bit about. And so I definitely think that it's worth taking a look at those things. So, okay, dropping fast. Are you wearing Old Spice? No. Okay. No, I'm not actually wearing any cologne right now. I do have some, and I'll occasionally put it on if I'm going somewhere or whatever, you know. But I don't use it often. One thing I might be testing, let me check my email, see if I have any confirmation on this. I might be testing, no, nothing, no confirmation, but I might be testing a high-end razor that uses the double-edged razor blades. You know, some of the folks in one of my shows suggested that it's definitely a more economical way to shave because those blades are dirt cheap compared to, like, I use Harry's razors now. But using those safety, what they call a safety razor that uses the double-edged blades, those blades are only like 10 to 25 cents, depending on where you get them and how many you get and so on. I think you can get them as cheap as 10 cents a piece. I mean, they're a lot cheaper than Harry's. So I might be doing a test on a high-end razor that uses those blades, and my experience as to whether or not it works, whether or not I cut myself with it or whatever. Because a lot of people swear by it. I mean, but you know, if it's so good, I have to question why all these other razors like Harry's and all that, why they sell so well. Is it just because they're good at marketing? See, my guess is that the Harry's razor is quicker and easier to use, and you're less likely to cut yourself. That's my guess. Because with these safety razors, you've got to keep the angle just the right angle. It doesn't pivot like these other ones, right? So it doesn't maintain the angle by itself. You got to maintain the angle and the amount of pressure and all that. Now, otherwise, you're going to cut yourself, right? So that'd be the question. Hey, Craig, this is a little off topic. Just wanted to know what you think of Cartier Tank Solo Quartz and Pink Gold. I'm not a fan of a Cartier watch. Let me see if I can pull one up here. Like years ago, I had one. I had a Cartier. Okay. Cartier Tank Solo. Here's one at Tourneau. See if we can pull one up here. Not a very good picture. Let me go back, see if I can get a decent image of this daggone thing. Give me a second here. I'm just trying to find a decent image. They don't seem to. They've all got these stock images. Here's one that looks pretty good. Cartier Tank Solo, 18 karat gold, rose gold. That looks pretty cool. I'll tell you, I'm not a fan of square watches, but that's pretty cool looking. I'm assuming it also comes on a black strap. Is that one on a? No, that's a different watch, but I'm assuming this is also available on a black strap, because I think it's more versatile on a black strap. But I mean, it looks good. I just think that I like this gold stunner better, and you can get it for less money. I paid $3,200 for this one. I either paid $3,200 or $3,300. I don't remember, to tell you the truth. But anyway, let's call it $3,200. And I'm tickled pink with it. It's dead accurate. So, what's your opinion on the premium on platinum watches versus gold? For example, the day-date. That's interesting, because years ago, platinum used to be more expensive than gold, significantly more expensive than gold, but I don't think that's the case anymore. And so I don't understand it. I think that the platinum, first of all, is harder to work with because it's harder. So there's that. And I think that because they make fewer of them, right, it's more of an elite thing, and so they can get a premium. I'm not a fan of buying a platinum one anyway. I would just buy a yellow gold. If I was going to buy a date 8, I'd buy a yellow gold, 18 karat yellow gold date 8. Be done with it. So, yeah, I don't know anything about the quartz movements that's in the Cartier. I don't know what the deal is with that quartz movement. I know the 9F is freaking awesome. Absolutely awesome. All right. Well, anyway, I think we hammered out this discussion, and there's going to be a lot of the things that we discussed that only time will tell the tale. Let's take one more look at the Bitcoin. And clearly, we had that little pump, and now they're dumping again. I'll tell you, there's been some opportunities for short-term trading for people that are into that, with all this volatility, to pick up some money on these pumps and dumps. But to me, it's fascinating that all these people are selling and then some people are buying. I don't understand why they can't get their act together. Why are some people selling and some people buying? Of course, you could say that about any market, right? But it looks like to me, like clearly the market is going down. Clearly it's a bear market. I mean, I wouldn't be buying right now. Now, I'm not selling because I'm a long-term holder, right? But I just don't understand who's buying right now. Why they don't wait until the bottom is clearly put in I mean, clearly we're in a bear market right now. It's just been stair-stepping down for months and months and months. It's been going down. It goes up a little bit. It goes down a little further. It's been stair-stepping its way down. That seems to be pretty clear. I guess people are buying because they just don't have any Bitcoin and they want to get some. I guess those are the people that are buying. Maybe there's some whales buying too. I don't know. Who do you think is buying right now? Craig, do you have a Bloomberg terminal at home? No, no, I don't. I don't trade. I'm a buy and hold guy. I buy and hold. Long term. As Adam Meister says, have a strong hand. Have a strong hand. Buy and hold. That's what I do. Buy British pounds. No. Hi, Craig from Oklahoma. How long lasting of a bicycle quartz watch? Well, if you buy the 9F, it'll go at least 50 years without any servicing at all, just changing the batteries. Then have it serviced after 50 years and go another 50 years. They're extremely robust, extremely long-lasting. It's insane how robust they are. That's the 9F quartz. And no servicing cost. Did I tell you don't have to service it for 50 years? Just replace the battery every 3-4 years, replace the battery, and that's it. You're good. You're good to go. Of course, I'm not going to service the spring drive either. Take a look at that. I'm not going to service it either. There it is. That puppy's just going to run just like it's running right there. It's going to run like that for decades. For decades. It's going to run like that and be spot on accurate. That's what you call a professional grade, commercial grade watch. Look at those titanium hands. Those suckers are titanium, okay? They will never corrode. Do you know that the titanium that Grand Seiko uses is much less likely to corrode than the stainless steel that Rolex uses? Rolex touts their 925 stainless, whatever the heck it is, as being extremely anti-corrosive. This titanium that Grand Seiko uses is even more anti-corrosive than that. So it's absolutely amazing, amazing stuff. So I don't think I'll ever have another stainless steel watch. I think I'll have the titanium sport watch you just saw, and then an 18-karat gold stunner for my dress watch. That's all I need. What else do I need? You guys tell me in the chat what else I need, because I don't think I need anything else. I think that's a fantastic two-watch combo. And then we're going to wrap it up with your final questions. I'll give you a little bit of time because of the delay. But we're going to wrap it up with your final questions. And then we're going to keep an eye on what happens with the markets. What happened with the stock market today? Did it crash again? I think it was crashing earlier. Let's take a look. Yeah, it's way down. NASDAQ's down 3%. Dow Jones down 2%. So it's not a pretty picture on the market. Not a pretty picture. All right, so I think we're going to wrap it up. We're getting short on questions and long on answers. So thank you all for tuning in, and we'll keep an eye on these markets. We'll see what happens with the Rolex market. We'll keep an eye on what happens with the stock market. We'll keep an eye on Bitcoin and the real estate market. Who knows what's going to happen there? Could be some problems there too. So be ready to do some bottom fishing and snatch some deals. That's what I say. Get ready to snatch some deals. Thanks all for watching. Carry on, everybody.